Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to talk about a pig hunt that we recently went on down in Florida, and we went down with Big Daddy Unlimited, or what we'll refer to as BDU. Check out BigDaddyUnlimited.com. They took us down to Florida, where they're located, down in Gainesville, and they took us out on a pig hunt. And so we wanted to go out there and have some fun and do a pig hunt from a golf cart that actually has a FLIR thermal dome on it, so it can scan at a 360-degree circle the area around you. And so what I want to show you in the video are the firearms that we used and bring you guys along through the lens of a camera for the hunt. Now, I do want to warn you guys that there will be some graphic imagery in this video. This is partially a hunting video, so we will show shots on pigs. So if that's something that offends you, please stop watching now. For the rest of you guys, let's start our journey down the story lane here. So what we knew going out there was that we would be hunting out of a golf cart, so we'd have fairly limited space, and there would be at least 3 of us, but it wound up being 4 of us in the golf cart at the time, and it's a fairly small vehicle. So Jason and I rode on the back of the cart, and then we had a driver, and then John from BDU joined us on the hunt, and he was sitting in the passenger seat. So we had kind of a rumble seat in back, but we did have a little bit of an overhang because they had rack space on top for taking the pigs back to camp. So anyway, we knew that the vehicle would be fairly cramped, so the the firearm that we chose to bring along for the vehicle portion of the hunting was this ADM rifle. This rifle is something that we do sell at Copper Custom, and Copper set this rifle up for me for the hunt. We took the 5.56 barrel off, we put a Faxon 6.5 Grendel barrel in it, swapped the bolt out, so we changed it from a 5.56 to a 6.5 Grendel. On top, we have a Pulsar thermal, and we've been using this thing now for a year. The Pulsar thermal is amazing. You can find these thermals over at Optics Planet, but we also decided to start carrying them at Copper Custom because we've been so impressed with the value that the Pulsar thermal brings to the market. So you're going to see some through the sight footage. This thing has the ability to detect a gunshot and immediately start recording, and that way you can actually see what I see when I pull the trigger. I have the shot detection off. I'm going to have to turn the recording on manually here before we start shooting. But this is an ADM rifle. Obviously, it's in black, and then out on the end, we have a 30 caliber OSS suppressor. And we chose the 30 caliber because the threads on the Faxon barrel are 5/8 threads, so obviously we're going to use a 30 cal suppressor. And the OSS is the suppressor I choose to use when I go hunting, simply because it has very low to no back pressure, which means we reduce the port pop, which means when I take that shot, I'm not deafening myself. So anyway, this rifle is really cool. 6.5 Grendel is an amazing cartridge. And then I'm going to show you a slightly larger rifle that you've already seen here on the channel. I told you I was going to take it hunting, and we did. And I'm going to show you that rifle, which we used for daytime hunting. It's quite a bit bigger than this short, handy little rifle. And we chose not to put it in the golf cart because obviously the thing would be kind of big and cumbersome in the golf cart. But what I want to show you guys really quick is what I see through the thermal sight. So I'm going to start the recording. I have 5 rounds loaded up of 6.5 Grendel, and I'm going to take a shot at a steel plate at 100 yards, and I'm going to take you guys along with me through the lens of this thermal optic. So you're going to see what I see here in a moment once I get the weapon loaded up. So I'm going to go ahead and load the rifle. Now here's something that we've learned with 6.5 Grendel. They have 6.5 Grendel specific magazines, and then they have 6.8 SPC magazines on the market. We found that the 6.8 SPC magazines actually work better for us when using the Grendel round. Now, if you try to use a standard 30-round magazine for 5.56, it's going to start binding up. Once you get about 10 or so rounds into the magazine, the rounds are going to start binding up because the case is actually thicker in diameter than a 5.56. So we're using a 6.8 magazine right now, and we've had perfect function with it. I'm going to go ahead and charge the rifle, bolts back, so I'm going to drop the bolt. We have a live round chambered, and now I'm going to get on target and start the recording of the thermal, and we'll switch over here. Now, guys, you're going to see what I see, and I have this thermal set up so that I have picture-in-a-picture. I'm running 1.6 magnification in general, and then I have a picture above it that has 3.2 magnification, and that allows me to see both close and far. And it's a setting that John at BDU showed me because they run Pulsar thermals as well, and he showed me that little trick, and it's something that I've really come to appreciate. Although while I was hunting, just so you guys can have a cleaner picture of what was going on around us, I chose not to use the picture-in-a-picture most of the time. All right, we'll start the recording here. Just push the button. All right, we have recording. Now what's interesting is not only is this recording video, it's also recording audio. All right, so it's actually got a pretty good mic on it. Let's go ahead, and we have a steel plate out at 100 yards. I have the optics set up for white hot. Now you can see on the picture in a picture, I have the crosshair right on the center of the round steel plate at 100. And I'm gonna go ahead and take a shot here really quick. And now you can see the plate move a little bit in the thermal. And you definitely probably heard on the audio the connection. So I'm gonna go ahead and fire again. And we hit 5 for 5. So go ahead and stop the recording. And there you guys go. So now you can see what I see when I'm out hunting. Something that was really, really interesting was on one of the little hunting excursions, we had, the guide had a handheld thermal, a monocular, and he was scanning for us when we got out of the vehicle. And we saw a pig at about 110 yards or so. And it's really hard to judge distance with these thermals. One thing that I really like to see is the integration of a laser rangefinder, which Pulsar does have for the XP50. I just don't have one. But it's really hard to judge distance and the size of the pig that you're shooting at. But we spotted a pig about 110 yards away, and we jumped out of the cart, got all set up, and as I was looking at the pig, through the thermal, my guide just grabbed my shoulder and turned me sharp to the left, and about 15 yards or so away was this massive boar. And you'll see that in the thermal footage. I turned, I fired on that massive boar just off to our left, and then I looked, and the pig at 100 yards or so was still standing down there in the roadway. So I quickly took a knee and fired, and I connected with the first shot. You can tell when a suppressed rifle connects with an animal because you hear a thud. Otherwise, you'll just hear an empty crack, right? So you'll hear that thud. I heard that thud on the first shot, and the pig turned and ran towards the woods, but I tried to lead him and fired 2 more shots at him to try and catch him. But the first round did catch him, and we found him about 10 yards or so just off to the left of the road, so he didn't run very far. So that was really, really cool, and it's an amazing footage to see. So we also did some other hunting, and Jason did some hunting. Unfortunately for Jason, he actually scored the biggest pig they've ever seen on the farm ever. It's an absolute monstrosity. And he killed it with this rifle, and I had my fill, and I said, hey man, you know, go shoot a pig, and he did, and he shot the camp record. And that was just a massive pig that was probably 8 or 9 years old, had huge cutters, which are the teeth on the bottom. The wetters, the little ones up top, had rotted and fallen out, but it had these massive cutters, and it was a spotted pig. So that is kind of in a nutshell how this rifle performed. I'm a big fan of the 6.5 Grendel. And the other rifle, the F4 that we use for daylight hunting, is a 6.5 Creedmoor. So both rifles are 6.5. One just has a little bit more power than the other one, the more powerful being the Creedmoor. And they both make for extremely great hunting firearms. So I'm gonna do some more shooting with this and play around with it and see if I can guess ranges and see if I can do holdovers and stuff with the reticles here. But then I wanna also show you guys the F4 rifle in 6.5 Creedmoor that we used for some daylight hunting. Got both of them. Got the one at 15 feet in front of us and got the one at 100, 110 yards. We don't know.
Yeah, he only went about 10 feet into the woods.
So that first one definitely connected, but he ran, and so I sent a few more rounds after him. All right, at 100 yards, it's kind of hard to make out the target. This shows you some of the limitations of the thermal. But right there, my crosshair, my magnified window, is on the stem of the target. I can make that out, so right at the base of it should be the steel plate. And there it is, hit it. All right, let's move it out to 200. And out there, if you look at the magnified window, the 3.2 by, you should see the stem and the target. I'm going to have to aim a little bit high for 200. And that connected. Connected again. You can see though, the target is not that clear to me. Now, a living creature would pop. Right now, the steel is almost the same temperature as its surroundings. We can make out the frame of the target. But the target itself is a little difficult to see. But I'm still able to hit it because I'm guessing where it should be, I should say. There's the stem. Hit it again. What's interesting is you can see out to 1,000. You can barely see the little circles out there. See the berms, and you can see the sky and the clouds. It's kind of cool. These pulsars have really, really good resolution. You can actually see the target boards here at 100. And you can actually see some of the targets. But that steel is just hard to see. But we can still hit it. It's pretty cool. I love using thermals. Once you get used to the limitations of the thermal and learn how to search for things, it's pretty cool. But like I said, anything that's emitting heat, like a critter, it's going to show up pretty clearly. This is the F4 rifle, chambered in 6.5 Creedmoor that you've seen previously here on the channel. The only thing that's changed since the last video is the fact that we've installed an old school OSS 30 caliber suppressor onto the proof barrel, which is a carbon fiber proof research barrel. So it adds a little bit of weight to the end of the gun. Overall, the gun is much heavier than the 6.5 Grendel rifle, but you can see how much this thing would, well, you can't see the weight, but you can see by its overall length with a long barrel and suppressor attached that this would be a little bit harder to get in and out of vehicles with, which is why we use the other rifle for the thermal shooting. So we did some daylight hunting, and we wound up sitting in a blind all afternoon, and we didn't see a single thing. We even had bait out there and stuff like that, and nothing showed up. And we only had 2 days on the ground, and it rained most of the time. So unfortunately, we weren't able to get any video footage of this thing doing its thing on pigs. But yeah, this rifle performs really well. We zeroed when we got down to Florida, because when we zeroed the rifle up here, there's a drastic temperature change. Obviously, I'm wearing a coat here. It's in the 30s today. It was much warmer down there, so we had to re-zero the rifles for humane purposes. You don't want to wound an animal. And we re-zeroed the gun and everything else. And John from BDU was also using an F4 rifle. His is chambered in 308, and he did get some kills with that rifle. I'm going to reach out to John and see if I can get some of that video footage off his thermal, because he was running an XP, but he had a shorter barrel on his 308 than I have here on my 6.5. But anyway, this rifle, so you guys know, I mentioned it in the last video, F4 sent us this rifle at no cost for T&E for us to shoot and play with and show you guys what we experience with the gun. So just wanted to make that clear that this is a T&E gun, and we do not have any money in this rifle whatsoever. So that being said, we have some ammo here that we were hunting with. We're going to go ahead and load this rifle up. And we're using a standard magnified optic. This is the optic you saw in the last video. This is an Athlon scope. These are for sale at Copper Custom. We are very fond of these scopes. They're a nice, alternative in terms of cost. They have very great, good optics and optics clarity. They box test very well. So I'm a Leupold fan. Most of the guns I have are Leupolds, but when you get up in the higher end of Leupolds, you're getting up to $3,000+. This gives you an option of not spending that much money, but getting similar functionality. So that's why it's on here. Playing with it, we continue to test it. At Copper, we test all the stuff that we sell. So far, so good. All right, let's do a little bit of shooting with the 6.5. This one's doped at 100. I gotta find my flashlight here because the scope's backlit. Yeah, all my turrets are set to 0. So I'm doped at 100. And then we'll see, we'll do a little bit of shooting at 100, then we'll shoot at 200 and use the exact same hold and see how this performs. It should perform as good as a 6.5 Grendel. All right, got it around chambered. This does have an adjustable gas system on it, so you can tune the rifle to the round that you're shooting. All right, we have a steel plate there at 100. And let's go ahead and hit that puppy. Solid hit. Man, I love the way this gun shoots. It's so pleasant with that OSS suppressor because we don't add back pressure. So both of the ARs that we're shooting out here this afternoon have very mild recoil because we're not overgassing the gun like you typically would with a conventional suppressor. So let's do the same thing. I'm going to shoot at 200. Now that I can see where my hits were with the 6.5 Grendel, the bullet drop was minimal. Hit. Hit again. Yeah, same hold, and that's the beauty of the 6.5 calibers. You don't have to make ballistic adjustments or elevation adjustments for shots from 100 to 200 yards. That's pretty cool. Huh. We might actually take this rifle today and stretch its legs a little bit to 500, maybe a little further, weather permitting. But yeah, this is a great rifle. I really wish I had the opportunity to put the crosshairs on a pig while we were down in Florida, but hopefully we'll be able to hold on to this rifle for a bit longer, and we'll take on some other hunts this spring. I think this would make for an outstanding prairie dog hunting rifle because the accuracy this thing's capable of, which is sub-MOA with the ammunition that it likes, is phenomenal. So yeah, what a neat gun. I like the green too. And it's grouping nicely. Yep, I love it. I hope you guys enjoyed coming along with us to our Florida hunt to go after some hogs. We want to thank our hosts, both BDU, Big Daddy Unlimited, and John from Big Daddy Unlimited, who made it all happen. He paid for the entire trip. And also I'd like to thank Florida Outdoor Experience for actually hosting the hunt. We hunted on their farm. It's an outstanding place. The food was good. The lodging was amazing. And they have, I think, around 8,000 total huntable acres. They don't just do hog hunting, they do turkey hunting, deer hunting, all sorts of stuff, even fishing, I believe, because they're right on the coast, just outside of Gainesville. So I want to thank all those guys for making it possible. It was an outstanding experience, and we hope, again, that you guys enjoyed coming along with us. If you'd like to support us here at the Military Arms Channel, the best way to do that is to follow the link down below and become a Patreon supporter. And once you become part of the Patreon family, we have exclusive content, you have direct access to me and Jason, and stuff like that. Also, if you'd like to support us, swing by and check us out at forgedfromfreedom.com. We do have a link down below to that because it's just a t-shirt shop, and YouTube doesn't censor that. So we can link to it, follow the link down below, pick up a t-shirt that supports us here at the channel directly. Also, be sure to swing by and check out coppercustom.com, which is our online store. And last but not least, we are Twitch gamers, so if you guys like to join us for a live stream, please follow the link down below to Twitch and subscribe and follow us there. And if you're a Patreon supporter, just let us know, and we friend our Patreons, and we actually include them in our games and in our streams. Guys, thanks for 11 years of support, and we'll talk to you soon. Now for the last 10 rounds out of this F4 beauty. Jeez. This thing is accurate. I love this rifle. Thanks for watching, guys.